How is it going, everyone? To my WWE Clash of Champions 2019 pay-per-view. Of course, Clash of Champions aired live on the WWE Network as well as pay-per-view tonight. And overall, I gotta say, coming out of Clash of Champions, I thought it was a fairly disappointing show. I thought it was okay at best. In my predictions video, I did say I was excited for it because I felt like the card was fresh. You know, a lot of the matches had my interest in it. And I feel like we were in for a night of great wrestling, and we didn't really get that. I feel like we had an equal share of good and bad. I feel like half the show on this half the stuff on the show was bad to terrible, and the other half of the stuff on the show was anywhere from good to great. So it was an equal spread of both, I felt. So it was an okay show. It wasn't bad or terrible, but definitely I wouldn't say it was good or great by any means. It definitely was a filler show feel to it. It definitely felt like a filler show. It felt like, a house show, network special, honestly. Those like 2-hour network specials we get for house shows. That's honestly what it felt like. It didn't feel like there really was much here to see. There was one match going out of our way to see, but it really was just, progressing storylines heading to Hell in a Cell, seems like, which I was excited for because I am going to Hell in a Cell next month. So I was glad to see a lot of progression go to that show instead. But yeah, definitely was a filler show. It was okay at best. Very disappointing, like I said. I feel like it could have been a lot better, but what can you do? Of course, before the main show started, we did have the kickoff show 1 hour prior to the pay-per-view, which featured 2 of the championship matches on there. Of course, the first one being a triple threat match for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, with Drew Gulak defending against Humberto Carrillo as well as Lince Dorado. Honestly, I felt like this was a pretty bad match. I just felt like there's a lot of sloppiness here. I felt like all three of them were not connecting at all. I feel like there's no chemistry. It was very sloppy, like I said. Probably the worst Cruiserweight title match we've seen in quite a while, honestly. I don't remember the last time I was this pleased with the Cruiserweight title match. I wouldn't even say it was good. I don't know. It just wasn't clicking for me. Right from the get-go, Gulak attacks both men with a huge drop kick. Lince Dorado did a huge dive onto the outside to both men. Humberto Carrillo also did an insane dive to the outside as well, which took both men out, which it was crazy. It kind of seemed more like with the Lince Dorado dives, was kind of more like a doomsday kind of seemed like, but Carrillo did an awesome dive on that side as well. There was a great three-way exchange in the ring between all three competitors, which Gulak ended up hitting a huge clothesline, I believe. I forgot on who, but he ended up hitting a huge clothesline to end it. And then ending came with Carrillo hitting his finish onto Lince Dorado. Gulak threw Carrillo into the post and did a very shitty roll suplex German onto Lince Dorado for the 1-2-3. So Gulak retains the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Like I said, I didn't think it was that good of a match. That was okay at best. It could have been a lot better, but just all three men to me just were not clicking, and it was very sloppy. And then the second match on the kickoff show, which was very surprising to many, including myself, but I'm not gonna complain. The United States Championship was being defended. AJ Styles, yes, AJ Styles on the kickoff show. Who would have thought that? Taking on Cedric Alexander, and unfortunately, this match only got a few minutes. Why, I don't know, but I will say for the few minutes they got, they put on one hell of a match. I thought it was, a great little sprint they had. Right from the get-go, Cedric Alexander hits a huge Michinoku driver on AJ for a near fall, just taking out AJ in the ring. Tries to hit a springboard, but AJ knocks him down, hits a huge brain buster on the apron, followed by a huge Styles clash on the outside. AJ throws him back in the ring, pins him, but then pulls Cedric back up to kind of mock him, saying that he's not finished with them. They go at it for a little bit. Cedric has a comeback, hits a huge elbow, followed by a flatliner, and then AJ was able to hit a reverse DDT, hits a phenomenal forearm, Styles clash, 1-2-3, AJ retains the United States Championship. Like I said, for the few minutes they got, I thought it was very good, and I definitely enjoyed it. Afterwards, the OC came out, and Anderson Gallows, they all three beat down Cedric Alexander, and that was that. So yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate that they only got a few minutes, but for what it was fun, and I just wish they would have got more time. And of course, from there, I'm going to the main show to open up with the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman defending against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. This was a good opening match here. I enjoyed it. I thought both teams worked pretty good, and the ending stretch was really fun as well. I definitely enjoyed the ending. I think that was definitely the best part of the match by far. But right from the get-go, Strowman and Robert, I should say, Roode went at it for a good while, and then Robert Roode tagged in Dolph Ziggler, which led into Seth Rollins tagging in, and I could honestly live the rest of my life very happily if I never saw Ziggler and Rollins in the same match again. We've seen those two go at it so many fucking times, and I'm just so over it. But Rollins works over Ziggler for a good while, knocks him to the outside. On the outside, Robert Roode's able to distract Rollins, which was able to lead to Ziggler hitting a DDT on the outside. From that point forward, they worked on Rollins for a good while in the ring. Robert Roode worked on him, and then Rollins had his comeback, hit a blockbuster on Robert Roode to hit the hot tag on Braun Strowman. Strowman got a hot tag, ran roughshod on everyone, was hitting shoulder blocks. And then, just running roughshod, and then, of course, Rollins got the tag back in, was able to work over Robert Roode. Him and Robert Roode had a nice exchange. Robert Roode hit a great spine buster onto Seth Rollins, and then as he's going for the glorious DDT, Strowman came in, hit a shoulder block onto Roode, but Roode flew into Rollins, hitting Rollins in the corner. Ziggler was able to kind of lure Strowman to the outside when Strowman tried to hit him over the ropes, so Ziggler out of the way, flew into the ropes, and flew to the outside, and then Robert Roode was able to hit the glorious DDT on Seth Rollins for the 1-2-3 victory. So Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler are brand new Raw Tag Team Champions. Love the finish. I thought the way it came off was very crisp and smooth. The way the shoulder block happened into Roode into Rollins, and then Ziggler sending Strowman to the outside, allowing Roode to hit the glorious DDT onto Rollins, and of course, Strowman tried to slide in and make the save, but he wasn't, able to do it in time. So I thought the finish played out greatly, and it was a good opening match overall, and of course, added a modesty between Rollins and Strowman, because obviously they're the main event as well, so Strowman walked off very pissly, and yeah, that was the Raw Tag Team title match. Like I said, it was good. Roode and Ziggler are Tag Team Champions. Don't care to see them as Tag Team Champions, but it's interesting to see where they go going forward, but it was a good way to start the show. And then, of course, go to the SmackDown Women's Championship. Of course, Bayley defending against Charlotte Flair. Charlotte's a big boot right from the get-go. She works on Bayley, lots of chops. Bayley tries to come back. They work on the outside for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, Bayley exposes a turnbuckle, throws Charlotte into it, pins her 1-2-3. Literally like a 2 or 3 minute match. Complete waste of time. Did not progress anything. Don't know what it was supposed to accomplish. But it was hilarious the way Bayley ran off at the end, though. She retained and she fucking booked it. So I will give Bayley that for being funny. But I don't know. I just felt like that match was a huge waste of time. Whatever. And then we had a Becky Lynch promo, which was fantastic, by the way. Her promo was incredible, just going off on Sasha and everything. I thought she did a very good job there. And then we went to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, the New Day defending against the Revival. This was a very good match here. Definitely, at this point, the best match on the show. The Revival looked fantastic, I thought. I thought their work, especially on Xavier Woods, isolating him off, after they took out Big E, was just fantastic. I thought they did a great job, and I'm very glad the result that we got this match happened. Right from the get-go, New Day was in control of Revival. Big E was able to hit the assisted Uranagi onto Dash, I believe it was, or Dawson, I believe it was, and they were in control until Dash and Dawson was able to get the upper hand. They worked on Big E for a good while. They took out Xavier Woods, and they worked on Big E. Big E tried to have his comeback, tried to do his big moves like the shoulder block, or the spear to the ropes, but, the Revival were able to cut him down. Big E was able to get the hot tag on Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods had his comeback as he was clutching his knee, did the whole spin and, the kick and everything. Pretty much every Xavier Woods comeback you've seen any tag team match that's ever been in. Somehow the Revival was able to come back. They took out Big E on the outside with a huge shatter machine, absolutely destroyed Big E with that, and then they took the focus on Xavier Woods, beat him down, hit a shatter machine, but instead of going for the pin, Dash wanted Dawson to beat the fuck out of Woods. He's like, no, don't pin him, make him suffer, and that's what they did. Locked in the knee bar on Woods, and then eventually Xavier Woods tapped out. So the Revival are your brand new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I'm very happy with the decision. I definitely think it was the right call, especially with the draft coming. I know the Revival are on Raw, but with the draft, obviously the Revival will go to SmackDown as a SmackDown Tag Team Champion. So I'm completely okay with the Revival winning the Tag Team titles, and I definitely think it was warranted. New Day as Tag Team Champions definitely is getting old, and the Revival, I feel like this is kind of a fresh start with them on SmackDown. So don't mind it. Definitely thought it was the right decision, and it was a really good match. I thought it, like I said, one of the at this point the best match on the show, and one of the better matches on the show overall. So Revival as Tag Team Champions, I'm for it, especially on SmackDown, and like I said, they look fantastic, I thought, in this match. So kudos to Revival. Backstage, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss were being interviewed, which was interrupted by R-Truth and Carmella when R-Truth was a boom mic man and got the boom mic in the picture. Then Alexa Bliss ratted him out to everybody, so everyone, of course, chased R-Truth after that, which led into the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Of course, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defending against Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Fire and Desire. They do not need that mashup theme of both their themes. Make their own theme or just to give them Mandy's theme. I hate the mashup themes so bad. They're so stupid and lame. But this was a decent match. It was solid for what it was, actually. There was some good solid work from Mandy and Sonya, and then of course Nikki and Alexa are really coming across as a legit tag team. I've really been enjoying their work, and I'm really glad they stuck with them as a team and not just did like a one-time thing. They kept it going. But Nikki Cross was able to mock Mandy because the whole thing about Mandy calling Nikki ugly and whatnot, so they could continued that with, you know, Nikki mocking Mandy. Alexa was in the ring, which led to R-Truth coming out with all the 24/7 competitors, you know, going for the championship. And Alexa Bliss, of all people, tries to roll up R-Truth with the championship, but R-Truth kicks out, so that was pretty funny. And then they all ran off. So that was your 24/7 championship title defense of the night, which was that segment. You know, Bliss got teamed on by Mandy and Sonya. They took control of it after, you know, Mandy hit a huge suplex followed by a huge running knee by Sonya Deville. Ended up hitting their tag finish with, you know, which was a leg sweep followed by the V-trigger by Mandy, but Nikki Cross broke with a pin. Nikki Cross got the hot tag, crossbody and Mandy. Her and Mandy had a few exchanges, and then Nikki Cross ended up hitting her neck breaker on Mandy Rose for the 1-2-3 victory. So Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross do retain the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Didn't mind it because, like I said, you know, I said on Twitter that, you know, they have a thing with these two, and they're a hot act, and they definitely need to capitalize on it while they can. So don't mind them retaining, but, you know, Fire and Desire definitely should have a future women's tag team title run down the line. So yeah, it was a solid match. And then we go to the Intercontinental Championship match. Shinsuke Nakamura defending against The Miz. Sami Zayn's on the mic, you know, to start the match. You know, he's kind of distracting it, you know, not kind of taking the focus away from the match until Miz. Well, his mic gets cut off, then Miz throws his mic, so he definitely can't talk anytime soon. So at that point, the match actually does pick up, and it's pretty back and forth. I thought Nakamura and Miz had great chemistry. Wish they would have got more time and didn't have, you know, half the match focus on Sami Zayn. I feel like they really could have put on a better match. Even though I still did really enjoy it, I feel like it could have been better than what it was, but I did enjoy it. Miz was attacking the knee of Nakamura, trying to set up for the figure 4 at one point, and what she does successfully does set up the figure 4, which is countered by Nakamura into an armbar, which I thought came out beautifully. Nakamura was able to get Sasha in the back of the head of Miz for a near fall. Went for another one, but Miz ended up countering into a skull-crushing finale, but Nakamura's foot was on the rope. At this point, the crowd's going wild. The crowd was actually pretty quiet for this match, and then they started getting going, chanting, "This is awesome." They got really invested in this match as well. Nakamura hit his infamous German suplex with the second rope, which I absolutely love when he does the sliding German suplex that Ishimori started doing in New Japan. And then, you know, Sami Zayn was able to distract the Miz for Nakamura to hit the Kinshasa for the 1-2-3 victory. So Nakamura retains the Intercontinental Championship. I enjoyed that match. You know, like I said, without the distraction of Sami Zayn and without, you know, if they would have got more time, I feel like this could have been a way better match. But for what they got, I thought they definitely delivered, and I definitely enjoyed that one. And then, of course, from there we go to, which I thought was match of the night, the Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch defending against Sasha Banks. This was a great match, and even better post-match segment. This was awesome. Definitely enjoyed it right from the get-go. Becky attacked Sasha. They went out for a while. Sasha rolled out. Becky did a baseball slide to take out Sasha. They fought into the outside. Back in the ring, Sasha Banks took control. There were a lot of exchanges. You know, they were really laying their shit in. It was a very intense match. They were beating the shit out of each other. I loved absolutely every second of it. You know, Becky was able to counter... Sasha was able to counter, you know, Becky's flying forearm into a bank statement, which was absolutely awesome the way that came off. Very crisp and smooth by Sasha there. She hit a Meteora, which she followed up with a pin, which I absolutely loved the way she hit it, and then draped Becky's legs down for the pin. I thought that came off beautifully, and absolutely loved that spot right there. You know, she was able to hit the bank statement when Becky was laying in some knees in the corner. She got out of it, hit the bank statement, and then Becky was actually able to counter that into an exploder, which I thought was great. Becky was able to, you know, lock into disarmor, and then, you know, Sasha was able to counter that into another bank statement after she did a backstabber off the second rope onto Becky into the bank statement, so that was a great spot. And then, of course, you know, Sasha Banks introduced a chair, tried to do an Eddie Guerrero fake thing where she, you know, threw the chair down and then, you know, attacked Becky, but didn't work. And then Becky ended up grabbing the chair and this clopping, very shitty chair shot, might I add, clocking the ref with the chair, and of course referee's down. Then, you know, her and Sasha brawled throughout the crowd, up into the stairs, up into the concessions, huge brawl all the way back into the ring where Becky just beat the fuck out of Sasha and then ended up locking into this armor through a chair on Sasha Banks. And, you know, we had referees and, you know, personnel coming out to pull them apart, and as they're getting pulled apart, you know, they're explaining on commentary that, you know, Becky was DQ'd and whatnot. And I just thought that entire brawl was awesome. I loved every second of it. Definitely made me want to invest in this feud even more, and hopefully, and, you know, there's no reason why they shouldn't be at this point, Becky and Sasha inside Hell in a Cell for the Raw Women's title, Hell in a Cell. I'm very excited for that one. That's gonna be fucking awesome. I can't wait to see that one live. And yeah, that was, you know, by far, like I said, I thought match of the night, and the post-match segment was even better than the match itself, I thought. So yeah, loved absolutely every second of all of that. If there's anything on to watch on the show, it is that match and post-match segment, and you can turn the show off of that. That's all I really need to see. Great stuff there. And then, of course, we go to the WWE Championship match. Kofi Kingston defending against Randy Orton. Very piss-poor match. You know, this entire feud has been built that, you know, Kofi, it's personal now. You know, Orton, you know, mocked Kofi's family in front of him. Now it's all personal, and Randy needs to prove himself that, you know, he can beat Kofi, and Kofi's trying to revenge his family. And these two go out there and just have such a standard, boring wrestling match. You know, right from the get-go, they do, like, the most smooth, crisp headlock in the, or lockup in the fucking world. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it was a standard wrestling match. It felt like a house show title match, honestly, where it was very slow and they weren't really doing much of it. I don't know. It didn't feel like they were going for the WWE Championship. Let's put it that way. You know, I love Kofi. You know, his role since becoming champion. You know, his road since becoming champion. You know, ever since the Elimination Chamber or the Gauntlet match before the Elimination Chamber, Kofi's been pushed greatly, but his pay-per-view title defenses just aren't working. I feel like, you know, besides the Mania title win, all of his pay-per-view matches have been very disappointing, and I don't know, this is, you know, again, a big disappointment if you ask me. You know, Orton dropped him to the table, you know, the infamous Orton bomb on the table. Kofi Kingston did a dive on the outside to take Randy Orton out. Orton hit his infamous draping backbreaker when Kofi tried to go for an SOS, and Orton beautifully countered that into the backbreaker. Orton hit an RKO out of nowhere, but, you know, Kofi had his foot on the rope. And then, you know, they went at it. Orton set up for the punt, went for the punt. Kofi got out of it. Ended up hitting Trouble in Paradise. 1, 2, 3. Kofi Kingston retains the WWE Championship. Like I said, very underwhelming match here. I thought it was worse than their SummerSlam match, honestly. The SummerSlam match was good, I thought, but this wasn't really anything good. It was very boring, I thought, honestly. So yeah, what's next for Kofi Kingston? My only guess is Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar gets moved to SmackDown in the draft, beats Kofi for the championship. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the only person I can think it's next. So, I don't know. Interesting to see where Kofi goes forward. So, yeah, Kofi Kingston retains the WWE Championship. And then, of course, we go to the no disqualification match between Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan. And if I thought that WWE title match was boring, holy shit, this match is even more boring. I was not entertained by this by any means. I was very tired. I was falling asleep watching it, honestly. I was entertained, you know, right from the get-go. They did a huge brawl, and, you know, they weren't really doing much. You know, they got some steel steps, which they try to put over Rowan's strength. They involved some kendo sticks. I don't know, like, they were using stuff, but my attention span was not there. Reigns takes out Rowan with the steel steps, followed by a Superman punch. They go to the outside. Roman Reigns tries to hit a Superman punch, but Rowan actually counters that into a powerbomb through an announce table, which I thought came off pretty greatly. That was probably the best spot in the match, honestly, was that one. They brawl up through the crowd. You know, Rowan uses the garbage can on Reigns at one point, which is pretty funny. They go onto the stage where Rowan tries to use the camera, but Reigns hits him with, like, some kind of object and then throws the camera into Rowan. Superman punches Rowan down the ramp, and as he's going for a huge spear on Rowan, out of fucking nowhere, big boot to Roman Reigns. You know what it is. You know what it means. It's Sunday. Luke fucking Harper comes back, and thank fucking God, because I've been so frustrated why they had not been using Luke Harper. I was very frustrated that they put Eric Rowan in this spot instead of Luke Harper. Even the whole Daniel Bryan thing, I still think Harper should have been in that spot the entire time, not Rowan. But it is what it is. Harper comes back. They double team on Roman Reigns, which leads into Harper hitting the disco lariat, and then Rowan hitting his claw, like, power bomb. And 1, 2, 3, Rowan defeats Roman Reigns. I don't mind it because of the interference. The match itself is very boring, but the finish, the last, like, couple minutes, I would say, was actually pretty good. So, yeah, Luke Harper's back. I couldn't be any more excited. You know, him and Rowan team together, I don't mind. You know, hopefully at Hell in a Cell, that means we get, you know, those two, Harper and Rowan, taking on Reigns and Bryan, maybe at Hell in a Cell in a tag match. I think that would be a lot of fun. And maybe, you know, they could reveal that Bryan turns on Reigns, and then, you know, Bryan reveals that he orchestrated all this. You know, Rowan attacking Roman, and then, you know, Harper coming back to help Rowan. You can, you know, tell a story that Bryan orchestrated all this, and I think it would be great storytelling, and I think that tag match would be great anyways as well. So you can go, you know, different ways with this, and I'm very excited to see Luke Harper back. You know, like I said, I've always loved the guy, and I think him being put in a prominent role is definitely a good decision. Hopefully gets a push out of it. You know, him and Harper maybe tag team champions down the line again. Who knows? But yeah, just very, very excited to see Luke Harper back. Shit match overall though, but very, very excited for that. Then, of course, we go to the main event, which is for the Universal Championship. Seth Rollins defending against Braun Strowman. Of course, these two defending the Raw Tag Team titles in the opening match of the show, which they lost. And now here they are in the main event for the Universal Championship. And I gotta say, these two put on a banger. It was a sprint. It was, you know, kind of a Brock Lesnar like match, you know, nowadays, where it's the bigger guy versus the little guy, and they just have a massive 10-minute sprint. And I feel like that's what these two had. I thought it was very fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought Strowman looked great as well, and Rollins, you know, had had a hell of a performance. You know, they continue to make Rollins look great. I don't care what anyone says. Rollins looked fantastic this year in terms of how he's been booked and how he's been able to beat all these big guys cleanly, might I add. And I don't know. I thought it was great right from the get-go. Rollins hit a barrage of super kicks to take out Strowman. You know, pretty much like the start of the Lesnar matches from SummerSlam and WrestleMania. Then, you know, Strowman's able to get the upper hand. You know, takes Rollins out to the outside, hits his shoulder blocks into the barricade, and then, you know, at one point Rollins is able to trip him into the table, does a suicide dive, and, you know, pushes Strowman through the announce table. And, well, he doesn't push him through it. Strowman kind of just falls on it, and the table kind of just crumbles underneath him. But that was one of the spots. And then Strowman had to come back. You know, he threw Rollins off the top because Rollins set him up on one of the other tables and was going to do a splash, but, you know, Strowman ran up, threw him off there, ended up hitting his own splash. So Braun Strowman hits a frog splash off the top rope on Rollins for a near fall. He's dominant onto Rollins, goes for the power slam, but Rollins actually counters that into a sleeper hold, puts down Strowman, and then Rollins is able to hit not one, not two, but 3 stomps. The first stomp he kicked out at 1. I believe he hit a second one, but he didn't go for the pin. Hit a third one, but Strowman still kicked out at 2, which is absolutely insane to me that he was able to kick out of that. And then Strowman was trying to have a comeback, but his knee gave out. Was going for a power slam, knee gave out again, and then I believe he hit a super kick. Oh no, he didn't hit his super kick. He was able to transition the power slam into a fucking pedigree, followed by a 4th and final stomp. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins retains the Universal Championship against Braun Strowman. Like I said, I thought it was a great 10-minute sprint. You know, I thought their styles meshed greatly. Strowman was able to be very athletic and look very dominant against Rollins, and then Rollins looked fantastic beating him. You know, he took 4 stomps and a pedigree to put down Strowman, followed by a million super kicks too as well. So I thought in defeat Strowman looked good, and I thought the overall match was very fun, and I thought it was definitely a good way to close the show. And of course, afterwards on the ramp, the lights went out, and then the Fiend came out of nowhere, hit Sister Abigail, and then of course did the whole mandible claw gimmick on Seth Rollins to close the show. I thought that was perfect. They did the whole graphic at the little corner, you know, right here, where it's saying like, oh, the show is ending, and then, you know, the lights just go out, the Fiend attacks Rollins, and as, you know, they're playing the Bray laugh, this slowly goes off the air. Thought that was a tremendous way to close it, and it sets up the main event. Well, maybe the main event, if you know, if it's not Becky and Sasha, maybe. But yeah, the Fiend taking on Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Very surprised to see them put the Universal title on the Fiend this quickly, but honestly, I'm not complaining. I think it's the right decision. He is the hottest act in the company, so why would you not put the championship on him immediately? So yeah, that was definitely a very good main event to close a very okay to decent show. Like I said, I thought half the show was, you know, good to great, while the other half was bad to terrible. So I don't know, it was a mixed bag, and I definitely feel like I said it was a filler show to build the Hell in a Cell. That's just how I personally felt. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please feel free to leave a like below, and of course, the next time I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching my WWE Clash of Champions 2019 review.